Hey there, it's Jessica here from A Cherry on Top, and for this video I wanted to go over the very basics of how to start scrapbooking. I get questions a lot when people come into our store and they'll say, oh, all of the scrapbooking stuff is so great, I would love to document a graduation or a birthday party, but I just don't know where to start. So in this video I will show a very beginner-friendly way to scrapbook. So there are a lot of different ways on how you can scrapbook. One of the most popular ones is with a large 12 by 12 scrapbook album. And this is one that you would fill with 12 by 12 pages and then put them in a page protector. And this can be a pretty intimidating way to start, especially if you've never done anything like that before. So then there are also a lot of other smaller sized ways that you can make a scrapbook album. One of my go-tos is making a snap binder or snap flipbook. This is the binder, so it's a nice size and has all of the, again, page protectors in here that you can slide photos into, and you can still get pretty crafty and creative with it, but a bit less intimidating than the 12 by 12. So that was the binder. This is a snap flipbook. So again, it's smaller. You can fit 4 by 6 photos in here really easily, or you can crop them down and add some stickers around there for some embellishments. You can even do some fun things like that. And we do have videos on our channel of how to do things like that as well. I thought a nice way to get started would be pick out a journal that you really like, one that has something pretty on the cover or has really nice paper, something that you can connect with a little bit. For today's video, I'm going to use this Traveler's Notebook. These are really nice because they have nice thick paper. This is from P13, but there are a lot of other brands out there also. And it's a nice size. It's like a full spread, but it's broken down a little bit and I think a bit less intimidating. So to get started, you will need your journal. And you will need, of course, some photos. These are some of the random photos that I've been meaning to scrapbook, but I just haven't. They're from a handful of events. So get your photos. You'll need something to adhere your photos to your journal. Something that you can't go wrong with adhering photos is our cherry tape. It's acid-free and it won't harm your photos at all. This is especially important if you're scrapbooking, say, older photos that you can't necessarily just print off again. And we have a lot of different sizes of cherry tape. I would probably recommend, if you're just going to get one roll, I'd say maybe get the 1-inch cherry tape, and that should be good for your photos. Say though, if you wanted to pare it down even more, you could just get a bottle of glue. This is some Nouveau Deluxe adhesive. It's our tried and true glue that we use all the time. This would also work to glue down your photos onto your journal, but I might not use a wet glue with old photos, just in case it would warp or whatever else. So those are my top two with adhesives. You'll need a paper trimmer also. I would recommend, if you're going to get a paper trimmer, get one that's a 12 by 12 size, because if you start getting into wanting to cut down 12 by 12 paper, you will want something that can cut 12 by 12 paper. This is an all-in-one tool, which I'd say is a bit much for the first-time scrapbooker, but I'll link some other 12 by 12 paper trimmers in the description that I think would be perfect for you. Of course, like with most crafts, you can't go wrong with a nice pair of scissors. These you could also use if you didn't want to get the paper trimmer. You can cut out your photos. A lot of the photos I just print out on our printer using printer paper, and then I cut them down to size. So you could do that, or sometimes you might want to cut out an embellishment or something from a piece of patterned paper. So I just mentioned patterned paper, and patterned paper comes in a lot of different sizes. Usually up to 12 by 12 size as the largest. I would get the size that you are scrapbooking with. So with this journal, all I need is the 6 by 8 size, and that will cover it fully. So that I would just get 6 by 8 paper for this. If you wanted to go larger, you can never go wrong with having more paper, and a lot of collections do come in the 12 by 12, and you can always use your paper trimmer to trim them down to size. You can use pattern paper as an embellishment. You can use it as the background of your page and really play it up or have fun with it. But usually having some sort of embellishment just makes your page look a bit nicer. Also, if you want to start adding in stickers or ephemera, you can do that as well. If I want ephemera like this, or ephemera, it comes in a lot of different shapes and sizes, and if I want one that will go with a lot of different themes, I like to go with florals. I use florals all the time. I think they're really nice layering. I could pop this behind a photo quite easily and stick it on my page and have a finished page. If you want to experiment with paints or anything like that, you can add some really simple backgrounds using watercolors. I can show you a page like that. And a lot of journals you can just paint directly into the journal. I know that's what I'm going to do with the one I'm using today. With all of that, let's start working in the journal and see what we come up with. I am just starting on the first page of this journal and going from there. You could start whatever page you want. And all of my photos that I'm using are all from different events. You could keep your journal all from one event. It's really up to you. I'm starting by cutting down some pattern paper because I wanted one of the sides of this journal to just have pattern paper. And if you have a really pretty pattern paper, a lot of times that's all you need for that side. So I'm having the pattern paper on one side and then the photo with some florals on the other. I'm trying to keep it really simple and easy so you can follow along and do this. These flowers I'm using are actually laser cuts, and I really love them because they can be so delicate and just really nice to layer with. So I'm gluing down my pattern paper using some of that Nouveau Deluxe adhesive. You could also use cherry tape here. And the nice thing with this adhesive is it has a really fine tip nozzle, so gluing all of these tiny little leaves are really easy. A lot of wet glue has a little bit of playtime once you set it down. Usually you don't want to move it around too much, so I just set it down and that's where it'll be. If you really don't like how something turned out, you can always try to pull it up. If that doesn't work, with a notebook like this, I could either glue two pages together so you can't open them, or you could tear out a page. So I could nicely just cut the page out and then you'd never even know. I'm also adding a little chipboard phrase. I think it just ties in the page together, and that page is already done. This next page, I wanted to scrapbook 3 photos from one event, so really you can add as many photos on a page that can fit. I'm starting with using stickers, and this is a cardstock sticker sheet. So I thought this border piece was nice, so I stuck that down first and then grabbed a piece of pattern paper in some of the bright cherry colors that are on the stickers to give this photo a bit of matting. And doing this just helps the photo stand out a little bit more and becomes more of a focal point. And this photo I am adhering using cherry tape. All you have to do is put it sticky side down on your photo or whatever you're gluing down, and then rip it. It rips very easily, so you don't have to get out scissors to use it, and then peel off the backing. Usually I just get my nail under there a little bit and it just comes right off. Cherry tape is different than the wet glue though, where when you stick it down, you don't really have much time at all to move it around. It's pretty much stuck where it is. Compared to where the wet glue, you can still pick it up and wiggle it until the glue is dry. After I have all my photos down, I am going to start embellishing, and I am doing this all with a sticker sheet. So for a lot of pages like this, you could just get one sticker sheet and scrapbook a lot of pages with it. You can see I'm not using a ton of stickers, and leaving some white space is important. It just helps keep your page from feeling too overwhelming. Now I'm going to show how quick and easy adding a watercolor page is. If you're interested in painting but don't really know what to do, really just pick one or two colors that you like, and it's helpful if those colors are close to each other on the color wheel. Like here I used 2 different shades of green and just started playing with it. Again, I'm trying to leave some white space on the page and not fully covering everything. And then I'm going to add my photo in the darker area, that way it looks like the watercolor's coming out from around the photo. But really, you could play around with this and see what you like. I kind of went for a diagonal on the watercolor, but like I said, play around, see what you like. There's really no wrong way. Also, I would say test in your journal to make sure it's not going to bleed through. Some journals do have thinner pages that might not be suitable for watercolors. But like I said, this P13 one was fine, and just make sure not to have your watercolors super, super wet, just because then it could soak through the other pages. And again, I'm just adding some stickers here and there. You really don't need a ton of stickers or embellishments. I like to really have the photo shine, and if you're new to scrapbooking, I think that's what is important, is to have a place to show off your photos. This next page, I'm using some Rub Ons. Rub Ons make really cool background pieces, and you can layer them. They're a lot of fun. These are from 49 and Market, and I first will cut out the area that I want on my page, and then there is a backing which you can peel off and then stick it down to the page. Once you have it stuck where you want, grab I'm using a bone folder, but you could use a palette knife or a popsicle stick, just something that you can put some even pressure down on the rub-on. And I'm starting from one end and peeling up and continuing to rub it down. If you have an area that didn't adhere fully, just stick the rub-on back down and go over it again with more pressure. And you can see how you can really layer these up and create a full background. A lot of these have a bit of a mixed media look, so it's a really quick and easy way to get that look without having to grab out a bunch of paints and different medias to play with. So I would say this is a very beginner-friendly technique. A lot of different companies are selling rub-ons, so you'll have a lot to choose from. And with this photo, I am just using the Nouveau Deluxe adhesive to glue it down. And you can even add rub-ons on top of photos or on top of other embellishments. They really will stick to a lot. And that's really works well for getting a nice layered effect, which can be really nice. You don't have to add words on all of your pages, but I am realizing that I did add some sort of word or title on all of my pages. I think it is nice to have some sort of title or something about the event on your page, and it just helps give it a little bit of context or just a nice little saying that can go on the page. Now I'm going to create a full pattern paper page. I cut out 2 pieces of paper that both are the same size as the journal, so this page will be completely covered. And to quickly adhere this, I grabbed some 2-inch cherry tape. It is nice if you have a few different sizes of cherry tape. I do use the 2-inch a lot because it's great for covering larger areas that would take longer for gluing or use up a lot of glue. And once I've stuck them down to the page, you can see how it just gives me a really bright and colorful background to start working off of. I tried not to have both of these pattern papers be a lot of clashing patterns because that can kind of be too much. And this page is kind of on the edge where it could be too many patterns, but also it is kind of fun, so I just went with it. I am sticking on my photo, and I thought this photo needed a photo mat just to kind of combat all of the intense pattern that is going on this page. I am also adding a little square that says notes, and then I can write on that. A lot of papers come with a journaling card paper. This collection that I'm using is from Simple Stories, and they usually have some papers like this that you can cut apart and write on. And I like to use this space just to tell a little bit about the photo or give a little insight onto it. And then I grabbed a piece of ephemera and am gluing it on, and like that I am done with this page. Another quick and easy one. I wanted to give another bit of a mixed media technique page if the watercoloring seems too intense for you. So this is using stamping ink and a blending brush. I would recommend using a larger blending brush. It lets you cover more area a bit quicker, and you can get some smoother blends. So I grabbed 3 colors of ink. These inks are from Catherine Pooler. I like using them for blending because they're very juicy and easy to use. Always start out with less pressure and add more pressure as you start wiping off the ink onto the page. And you can always add more ink, but you can't really take it away once it's on the page. So again, just make sure you have less ink on your brush and then gradually add more. And again, I am adding stickers onto this page and just layering it up, and just like that, it will be a finished page. I would love to know which of these techniques you are most drawn to or which you think you would do. I could do every page in my journal like I did this one, where I just did a ink background that I blended and then added stickers to. And here's a quick flip through of all the pages I just did. Let me know what type is your favorite. Well, hopefully it feels a little less intimidating getting started with your scrapbooking, and I hope those 5 different pages I made were easy to follow and something that you think you could make. I was able to create these 5 pages in probably under an hour, so hopefully that is achievable for you, and there is always so much room for creativity in any type of artwork that you're doing. So even if you simplify it more than these or decide to add a lot of extra onto it, that's up to you. And let me know if you have any other questions and I'll be sure to answer them. Thanks for watching.